to stick it to Kyrie. Maybe he didn't like Pelinka. Well, LeBron tweeting, you know what? Maybe it's me. Nick, where does this leave your beloved Lakers? They need more help. He needs more help.
It's not my beloved Lakers.
He needs more help out there.
Oh, do you think they have a good team?
I don't know.
No. You told me.
You just told me KD can make it to the finals with Spencer Dinwiddie. Maybe LeBron can make it to the playoffs with Anthony Davis.
So let me just ask you.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
No, Friday you were demanding that I apologize to Rob Pelinka.
If it happens.
No. You were demanding I apologize to Rob Pelinka. Would you like to continue to cape for Rob Pelinka?
I'm not.
You a big Rui Hachimura guy? I'm just
sneaky
curious.
good.
So here's the deal. This is why, Brew, this strategy was so risky. Because they had the Turner and Hield trade in hand before the season started. Had they made that trade, they wouldn't have started 2-10. Had they made that trade, they'd be in a drastically different position they are now. They didn't, at the hopes that someone like a Kyrie Irving would come available. That person came available, and you couldn't make the deal. Maybe it was because Joe Tsai wanted to stick it to him. Maybe it was because the Nets don't want Durant to ask out, so they wanted complementary pieces instead of Russ's expiring contract. But you cannot, if you are the Lakers, stand pat. Now that we know, it's been reported by multiple teams, they were willing to trade both of those firsts for what might have ended up being a Kyrie Irving rental. Even if he signs an extension, it might be a rental because he's Kyrie Irving and he demands out everywhere he's been over the last over his last 3 stops, I should say. So if they were willing to do that, they have to make a significant move before Thursday in a West that right now, unless you believe, not you, but the generic you, Denver is a juggernaut, which I do not, is as wide open as any conference I can remember, Brew.
Yeah, it is wide open. But here's the thing, and this is why LeBron shouldn't be frustrated. Disappointed? Sure. All right, you missed out on an opportunity to add a great player who would have made you the favorites in the Western Conference, assuming AD stays healthy. But, Nick, I don't think they had the pieces. All right, I think what the Nets got from Dallas is better than Russell Westbrook and those 2 future first-round picks. I think what Phoenix was offering with Chris Paul and Jay Crowder and a first-round pick was better than what the Lakers are offering. So I can't blame Rob Pelinka. He threw his bullets out there, and it wasn't enough. Put on top of that Joe Tsai didn't want to send Kyrie to the Lakers. So I think LeBron just has to understand, hey, Pelinka tried. We didn't have enough, so let's see what we can do this week.
Just real quick, one of the reasons they didn't have enough was because Pelinka hasn't signed any quality role players. That's the thing is, it's like I don't have enough players people want. Whose job is it to get the good players? Oh, yeah, that's my job too. This idea that he's absolved of responsibility for this is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. He spent the mid-level exception on Kendrick Nunn, who they then had to get rid of. He's the one that chose to keep THT over Kyle Lowry, which I kind of endorse too. But I'm not paid by the Lakers to be right about these things. I'm allowed to be wrong about these things. Give me a break. Like, they didn't have the available pieces because they have not drafted great and they haven't spent good money in free agency. Come on.
All right, we're going to leave the Lakers there. We can discuss more later in the show. Nick's got some fake trades. But next up, talking Chiefs in Arizona. And is it going to be a blowout? Strong maybe. Next. 29th in rebounding. Let's look at this from the Brooklyn side. 2 schools of thought here. One is, hey, this team got pretty good defensively. The other is, second round ceiling. KD should ask out. Phoenix banking on the latter. Chris Haynes says the Suns are looming. Also, Jaylen Brown chatter starting to pop up in certain corners of the basketball world. Brew, do you think KD should ask out?
I mean, look, I would understand. I don't think he should. You got 3 years left on your deal after this one. I think if you just let it play out, maybe in the offseason, if things don't go well, the Nets will be willing to move on. I would, if I'm KD, look, obviously he and Kyrie are great friends.
Are they?
But we know well, I think they're friends, and I think they keep the basketball separate, right? he was ready to move on from Kyrie this offseason. As they will remain friends, we're not going to be teammates. So I don't know that this automatically makes him say, oh, Kyrie's not here, I've got to go. He should give the Nets time, whether it's this upcoming week before the trade deadline or early in the offseason. Give them time to see what they can put together around him to, keep building a championship quality team. So, and furthermore, Nick, I wouldn't trade him. Now, certainly not this week if I'm the Nets. There's no way I'd trade him if I'm the Nets right now unless it's just a blockbuster, no-brainer deal.
You know what you also wouldn't do on Friday? Take this. When I offered it to you. You thought they weren't going to trade Kyrie. And now your next year Nets, I think most people are going to write them off. I, on the other hand, think not only should KD not ask out, I think this presents a brilliant opportunity for Kevin Durant.
Oh, let's hear this.
There is no question now who the bus driver is. There is no question now that the Nets actually, for the first time since he's been there, have legitimate depth and a legitimate opportunity to be a not average, but very good defensive team. Also, you are bringing in, I would say, 60% of Kyrie's production in Spencer Dinwiddie, and then I like Dorian Finney-Smith a ton. And here's the challenge I would put out to Kevin Durant if I were Jacques Vaughn, if I were Joe Tsai, Sean Marks, anybody. Would anyone in the world be writing off the Nets as finals contenders if they had this exact roster, but in place of Kevin Durant, Giannis was there? No. They wouldn't. If in place of Kevin Durant, Luka was there, no, they wouldn't. I would actually even argue, Brew, given the Nets have so much shooting and now defense all of a sudden, if LeBron were in the place of Durant, this year, this version of LeBron, people would say, they got a shot. If Kevin Durant is, as I think he believes he is, as I know many media members believe he is, the best basketball player in the world, this is a chance, even without a championship, just making the NBA Finals with this team, a la LeBron in 2018, or hell, making the conference finals with this team, a la Luka last year, would be a big deal. And it would be Kevin Durant and a bunch of role players who know exactly what their role is, and then whatever you get from Ben Simmons, which at this point has to just be considered a bonus if you get anything for him. I don't think that the Nets downgraded drastically given what their issues were and given all of the issues that Kyrie brings to the table. So I don't think Wildes, he should ask out. I think he should be excited for this season, for this opportunity, and then you can reevaluate in the summer. But I think for this season, if we're talking about Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn in part to remake his legacy after the Warriors thing, going to Boston doesn't fix that at all. Yeah. If he can take this team on a deep playoff run with no Kyrie and no Harden, that's substantial, that's meaningful.
Conference finals, you'd be happy with that? He's supposed to be like, I did a great job.
Luka got a lot of credit last year for making the conference finals.
That's like,
But Luka is much earlier in his career, obviously. And look,